Welcome back to another episode of New Metal Releases. This week we got 7 brand new albums dropping on Friday the 13th. And let me tell you, this might be one of the strongest weeks we've had in a while. We're covering everything from atmospheric black metal to classic speed metal with some doom, hard rock, dark rock thrown in for good measure. Interestingly, a lot of these releases have a strong horror movie vibe running through them, which makes sense given the release date. Got some vampiric symphonic black metal, Italian post-punk meets black metal, retro doom. It sounds like it came straight out of the 70s. Some high-speed hard metal from Greece. I'm ranking these from my lowest score to my highest score today, so stick around, see which album takes the top spot. Number 7, Greyhawk, Warriors of Greyhawk. Starting off our list is this album, Warriors of Greyhawk, and they are an American heavy metal band from Seattle, Washington. They formed back in 2016, known for revitalizing traditional old school heavy metal. They blend it with US power metal, heavy guitar shredding, and 80s inspired AOR elements, and a lot of the music that they grew up loving. The album marks the debut of the new vocalist Anthony Corso. So let me run through some key tracks on the album. Opening track is called Ascension. It's a traditional metal opener with a European feel. It's actually the lead single for the album. Then you got Land of Ashes, High Speed Assault, propelled by double kick drumming, and that really gets your blood pumping. Take a Stand is a Teutonic style metal anthem with high pitched vocals. That reminded me of classic German power metal. Word to Power features some cool traditional heavy metal with some great guitar chugging throughout. Hyperspace is a fast-paced track that combines US and European power metal with a blazing solo that shred fans are going to love. And the album closes with Rise Above, which is more of an 80s hard rock sound before it fades out into this lone acoustic guitar, giving you that epic ending feel. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent album. My score is going to be 7.5 out of 10. I might need to listen to it some more as the month goes on. Number 6 is Hoaxed with Death Knocks. Coming in number 6 is Hoaxed. Actually, I said it wrong the first time, but the album's called Death Knocks. They're from Portland, Oregon, and they're known for this blend of melodic rock, gothic rock, heavy metal. They're signed to Relapse Records, and it's a pretty big deal because they've been gaining a lot of attention for their gloomy aesthetic and catchy hook-driven songwriting. Death Knocks is the band's second full-length album, and the first one featured new bassist and vocalist April Dimmick. Me personally, I liked it. Cool album. It reminded me a lot of German band Lucifer. They have a similar style. It's a short album. It's just 9 tracks. A runtime of about 31 minutes. It's a quick listen, but it packs a punch. Opening track is called Where the Seas Fall Silent. Very melancholic pace with a repetitive theme. It really sets the mood. Kill Switch is a harder rocking song with a groovy track. Promise to Me is another track with more of a melancholic vibe. Similar to the opening track, The Fallen was a slower paced track that features cello. Overall, another solid horror-themed album. It seems to be a running theme this week, and my score for Death Knocks is 8 out of 10. They're not breaking any new ground with the sound, but music is enjoyable and well executed. Number 5, Sundecay, The Blood Lives Again. So this is number 5. They are a progressive doom metal band from Toronto, Ontario, known for blending classic proto-doom influences like Pentagram, St. Vitus, Black Sabbath with proto-metal hints, and also incorporate other elements like psychedelic music, sludge music, progressive elements, and it makes it sound diverse and interesting. It has some key tracks. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the retro sound. It's a little different. They're pretty original. And some key tracks are Comes the Wizard or Here Comes the Wizard. That's the first track. Has some old school Black Sabbath style guitar riffs. It has a dark and creepy vibe. Vocals are dark and typical of what you expect from a doom metal band. Another key track is called Silent Spoken. And it was more of an atmospheric, modern doom metal type of song. The pace much slower and lots of sound textures layered throughout. And the title track, The Blood Lives Again, which has more of an upbeat sound, compared to the other tracks, featured some old school guitar riffs. My score for this is going to be 8.3 out of 10. I thought some pretty solid old school doom with modern touches, and I recommend you check it out. It's a little different, so pretty cool stuff. Number 4, Temple Bells, with the self-titled album Temple Bells. And this is an interesting one. They are a Finnish melodic hard rock band. They have high energy riffs, anthemic choruses, powerful live shows. They formed in the mid-2010s, and they built quite a following. They have opened for some pretty big bands like Sonata Arctica, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep. And their sound blends classic hard rock with kind of a modern sound, and kind of gives you the best of both worlds. But here are some of the key tracks. Flashback Dynamite has some 80s glam metal guitar playing. Reminded me of George Lynch and Dokken, but the music itself sounded a little more European with catchy melodies and memorable hooks that stick with you. I like the track Lethal Force. It has bluesy slide guitar and made me think of bands like Cinderella. Another standout was We Are the Night. It has more of a country southern rock feel, kind of unexpected, but I think it worked very well. And there was Chasing the Madness, which leaned more towards traditional heavy metal. So as you can see, there's a lot of variety in this album, but they do have this very catchy, melodic, kind of like, let me just say, like a European sound. I guess that's a good way to describe it. And the songs are memorable, so I think I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. I liked it better than I thought it would be. I thought it was just going to be some generic, like, hard rock album, but it was actually better than I expected. So that's what I thought of this one. Number 3, Leatherhead, Violent Horror Stories. So this is a Greek speed metal band. They're from Larissa, Greece. They formed in 2022. They're kind of a new band. I actually remember listening to their self-titled debut album a couple of years ago. They claim they call their metal horror metal, but basically it sounds like fast-paced US power metal and thrash metal and speed metal, so something like that. There's lots of high-pitched vocals, melodic guitars, a horror concept, and they can be compared to bands like Agent Steel, Savage Grace, Overkill, King Diamond. I also think like early Queensryche, Sacrifice, those types of bands, like bands that kind of have gotten forgotten about, like in the early 80s. A couple songs that I liked, VHS, that's the opening track, a lead single. It's fast-paced, reminiscent of Agent Steel. It really sets the tone for the record. Summoning the Dead is straightforward semi-thrasher, maintains the intensity of the opener, but with a more moderate headbanging pace. The Visitors, a galloping metal anthem, it transitions the album to more ambitious material. And Children of the Beast, it's a longer track at 7 minutes long. It has like different changes and acoustic parts, and it's like a semi-ballad, but it's very epic, and there's a lot going on. Another one that reminded me of like early Queensryche. Overall for me, 8.7 out of 10. Definitely a strong album. Check out the first one. I remember liking the first one. Check out this one. They have 2 solid albums, so really good stuff. Number 2, Ponte del Diavolo, de Venom, Natura. So this is a band from Italy. They are like doom, black metal, kind of like a very unique type of band. They formed in 2020. They're new on the scene. And they blend old school doom and black metal with post-punk, dark wave, and these atmospheric, esoteric textures. I discovered them on one of the episodes on my Discovering Metal Band from Other Countries series. I was covering Italy, and somebody recommended this band. I remember listening to the previous album, and I remember liking it a lot. So I've been anticipating this album because I had heard this band before, and I like it a lot. So lots of good stuff here. Opening track, Every Tongue Has Thorns. Reminds me of that Poison song, but it doesn't sound anything like it. Just the song title, Every Tongue Has Its Thorns. But really good, because it starts like slow, like very trippy, then it just goes full black metal, but then once you hear the vocals, you might be expecting like those dark black metal vocals, but they sound more like post-punk. Singer is a female singer, so she reminds me of Susie and the Banshees, like something like that. It's really interesting. It's a nice contrast, and it works very well. I also like the track Lunga Vita alla Necrosi, and that's in Italian. It has a very upbeat punk rock sound, but with traditional black metal elements. It's a weird combination on paper, but they make it work very well. Another song, Il Veleno della Natura. This is a creepy horror movie synth. It sounds like it came straight from this old Dario Argento movie, but with a new wave sound underneath it. The music is hard to describe in words. You have to listen to it for yourself. You have to understand what they're doing. One of those bands that's creating something truly unique by combining textures you wouldn't normally think would work together. I'm giving this one a high score. I'm giving this one 9 out of 10. Surprisingly for me, because I'm somebody who usually doesn't like black metal albums. As I mentioned before, I'm very picky with black metal. For all of you who remember, last week I put the Venom, or it wasn't Venom, it was Mayhem, the Mayhem album all the way at the bottom because I couldn't get into it. But this is the black metal that I like. And that's not the only black metal, because my number one album is also going to be black metal. So let me get into it. My number one album is Worm with Necropalace. What I like about this is that there's so much going on. There are double kicks, organ melodies, these vocals, tempo shifts, and lots of synth. It's just kind of like this like 80s and 90s horror movies that kind of like run throughout the album. They have these music videos that look like they were created like back in like the 1970s, and they had this like old like VHS feel. They look like those like early like low budget like 80s horror movies. I used to rent them at the video store all the time when I was a teenager. You gotta check out the music videos. But we got the title track, Necropalace, a 12-minute epic, has a music video. Like, that's pretty cool. All the music videos are really good. And the sound kind of reminds me of Cradle of Filth. It has a very creepy vibe throughout. And the best part of the song, they have lots of tempo changes. It keeps you on your toes. Sometimes they're full black metal with aggression and speed. Other times they're more traditional metal and sometimes more melodic. The variety keeps it interesting. So like the 12 minutes doesn't really bother me. I like the song Halls of Weeping. Has some creepy haunted house synth paired with guitar shredding. The sound of this track is dark and evil. Exactly what you want from a band dealing with these vampiric and occult themes. And the last track, Witch Moon, the Infernal Masquerade. It's an epic, 14 minutes long, and features Marty Friedman. We all know who he is. And I watched the whole music video. I didn't see him in the music video. Supposedly he's in there, but if you want to know what part he plays, he comes in around the 9-minute mark, and you can tell it's definitely him. It's his solo style, so you can check that out. But again, like I was saying before, it's a type of black metal I can get into. I don't mind this long lengths of the songs. I don't mind 15-minute songs if they're really good and they keep me interested. So I don't get bored with this. And like sometimes with black metal, like it just like all sounds the same to me, and it just kind of sounds like noisy. But I can like after the first listen, I like really liked this album, and for that reason, I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10, which is a very high score for me, and also a very high score for a black metal album for me. But Worm created something truly special. Probably one of the best albums of the week, possibly one of the best black metal albums I've heard maybe ever. And if you only check out one album from this week's list, make it this one. So that is all for this week. Check out last week's episode. I'll stick it right there. I think I did another like 7 bands that time. Please remember to like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.